So my name is Laila, I'm from Brazil, but currently based in France, and I'm 25 years old. So I've been thinking about that, and I think that a great way to get more involved is participating in events, as I've seen that most people are doing, and doesn't need to be big events. I think local events that promotes coordination efforts geographically is also very important, like smaller versions of the Internet Governance Forum in Latin America or in Africa. I think it's very important to be there to also learn from other people's opinions and ideas, but also to get attention to yours. So right now, I honestly think that's the best way to get involved and make an impact. About how could my and I assume our ideas could reach power of decision makers. I also think that these events with high level profiles are also a good way. But what I've been seeing in Brazil specifically, that one friend of mine works with digital rights, especially with children, is to be more actively present in the legislative process. So if they're trying to pass a law or on something, or any kind of legislation or regulation that might affect digital rights, it's important to be there and to showcase yourself. And she's from an organization, but showcase the points of view, and also as a resistant, and also just be there every day so they will see you and make pressure, because I think the only way to get attention, important lately, is being present every day, making pressure, and just standing up and don't give up, I think. I think it's very important to put the human at the center when talking about all technologies, to really understand how one technology or something that is already there, already affecting people's lives, might affect society in general. Because I think usually policymakers can be led sometimes, but how profitable this is going to be, or how we can advance security. But there's little attention on how this is going to impact people's lives in other ways. I know it can be very good, but the negative effects can be also very, very bad. So I think they need to be studied as well. And yeah, I think in general, understand that the internet's the biggest public space that we have. So we need to treat it carefully and consider human rights, and really make an effort to adapt issues that we have right now, such as harassment and racism and everything, but really have the ability to adapt how this can be present in the digital sphere and how we can fight it. And of course, that is only possible if we have multi-participatory process with opinions from people from everywhere in different organizations. But I think basically starting to have a human-centric approach, it would help a lot. So I started my master's last year, and it's a more digital focused master's. And in the last semester, we had a class about data visualization, which I thought it was pretty interesting. That's basically how we're going to translate that million rows in the spreadsheet into something that you can see and understand, and mostly other people that are not technically involved can see and understand. And I personally thought it was kind of hard to translate all of this numbers and lines and things into a graphic or something more visual, because you really need to start translating things in your mind. So it was something very new to me, especially because I'm not very good with numbers and all of that. So it was kind of hard, but I really like it, and I think it's very important. And something that I like to learn more, I like to continue learning more about data visualization. I think it's pretty important. But I would like to also get more familiar with coding and functioning of AI systems, not programming by myself, but just have a better sense of how do they work. Because I think it's very important to understand how does the system work, so we can try to make them better and more human, you know, because it's very hard when you don't fully know about something that you're talking about. If I could invent something new, I mean, not on my school specifically, but I've been thinking about the educational experience in general, is that technology has a super cool potential to make things more interesting. So I think the gamification is something very interesting for schools, especially like with young people, that is so hard to keep focused because of all these new technologies. So I think using these technologies, adding games or more interactive ways, maybe with like virtual reality stuff and these tools, I think is a great way to make things more interesting. And it's also a good way to start introducing like this data debate in school, because it's super important for kids and the youth to be talking about that, to understand what is data governance. And I think the games and video games and this kind of way to learn, it's a very good way to make people more interested. So from the side of social media apps and just online platforms in general, I think it's really, really important that they start taking content moderation more seriously. And as a thing that it needs to be taken care, because it's the life of a lot of people there at stake, and how they react to each other. And also there's a lot of, most social media, they kind of profit on hate because it gets more attention and more clicks and more views. So I think they really should stop that as well. It's not good for anyone but themselves. And in terms of school and parents and teachers, I think to promote a healthier environment, that's kind of tricky, because I think it really needs to be, the kids need to be teaching more about empathy and how to foster like this kind mentality, and to really put yourself in the place of others. I think it's very, very important is to reinforce this idea that whenever you're feeling threatened or something like the slightest thing, it's okay to talk with someone. Because with cyberbullying, I think it can be especially hard, because sometimes you don't see like the physical part of the harms. So it's very easy to hide, and things get very dark very easily. So I think it's very important to create a safe space to make all students feel supported, and that they can talk to someone at any time and they won't be judged. I think that's very important, mostly teaching about empathy, because I think in the internet, a lot of people feel safe covered by an anonymous page or something like that. And we're missing this idea of like putting ourselves into the mind of someone else and thinking if we would like to be talked like that, like this. And yeah, I think in general, that's it.